9, Falcon Heavy is a two-stage launch vehicle. The big difference is that the Falcon Heavy's first stage is comprised of 3 cores, and the Falcon 9 only has 1. Each one of these cores has 9 Merlin 1G engines, making for a total of 27 overall. Altogether, the engines produce 5 million pounds of thrust, equal to 18 747s at takeoff. In fact, the engines produce so much power that we don't run them all at full thrust all at once until after liftoff. For the mission today, the center core is brand new, but the 2 side boosters were previously flown in April on Aerostat 6A Falcon Heavy missions. This is the first Department of Defense launch flying reused boosters.
Now, during ascent, Falcon Heavy will throttle its thrust up and down and on both side boosters in the center core to balance aerodynamic and structural loads on the vehicle. About 70% through the first stage's burn, the 2 side boosters will separate and come back to Earth for simultaneous landings at Cape Canaveral Air Force Station on Landing Zone 1 and Landing Zone 2. At this point, the mission will proceed just like a standard Falcon 9 flight. The center core will keep firing for another minute, then we'll perform a standard stage separation from the second stage. We will attempt to land the center core on our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You, which is currently stationed about 650 nautical miles off the coast of Florida in the Atlantic Ocean. It's worth mentioning that for this mission, bringing back the center core will be more challenging than usual, as our booster will be coming in extra hot and our drone ship is positioned almost double the normal distance from land. Given this distance, we may not receive any video of landing. Now, if we are able to land all 3 cores tonight, it will be a particularly exciting achievement. The second stage is exactly the same as any other Falcon 9 flight. Tonight, the second stage will move through 4 different orbits in order to deliver the payloads on this mission. The first and second are low Earth orbit, or LEO. The third is a transfer orbit, and the final is medium Earth orbit, or MEO.
Speaking of those satellites, all 24 of them are safely enclosed inside of the 17-foot diameter payload fairing, which is the pointed structure on the very top of the rocket. This protects the payload from aerothermal loads, heating, and contamination during ascent. Once we reach the vacuum of space, we no longer need them, so we will jettison the fairing as the second stage continues on its journey to orbit. We will be attempting to recover the fairing pieces tonight with our recovery vessel, Miss Tree, formerly known as Mr. Stevens. Our hope is to catch one of the fairing pieces in the ship's nets and recover the other piece from the water. If we are not successful with our catch attempt, Miss Tree will recover both pieces from the water. Let's check in on how the countdown is going.
It's T-minus 14 minutes, 10 seconds and counting down. Good evening. I'm John Isberger, the Falcon Principal Integration Engineer at SpaceX. Now we are at T-minus 14 minutes from the launch of the Falcon Heavy, and all systems are go for launch on the half hour. Falcon Heavy rolled out to the pad with the payload 27 hours ago and went vertical about 7 hours later. Now we did have a ground hydraulic issue early in the count, but it was fixed, and currently everything is go. We cleared the pad deck at T-minus 9 hours to begin hazardous operations, and just before we began the webcast, the SpaceX launch director pulled the 9 members of the launch team. You can see the firing room at Kennedy Space Center. We pulled the team, got to go for propellant loading and launch. Now we're currently loading propellant on all 3 first stage boosters and the second stage. Now we load 2 propellants on the Falcon Heavy. One is liquid oxygen called LOX. No oxygen is in space to support combustion, so we have to bring our own. We chill it to get it as dense as we can in order to maximize how much we load. The second propellant is our fuel, RP1. That's essentially a purified kerosene. Now these 2 propellants have a long history of usage. The Saturn V first stage, flown from this very pad on the moon missions 50 years ago, used LOX and kerosene. Now for the satellites on tonight's flight, everything is go. The last transfer to internal power is coming up in just half a minute. Other than that, the spacecraft teams here at the Cape are monitoring data as we proceed to T0. And I expect a lot of satellite builders and operators are anticipating getting data from space with a lot of enthusiasm. Now we're launching out of the eastern range, supported by Cape Canaveral Air Force Station. The range is currently go. They're prepared to support today's mission. They're making sure that the sea space, the airspace is cleared. No one's nearby to get in the way of tonight's launch. They're also releasing balloons, which brings up the question of how's the weather? The good news is the weather is looking very good. Ground level winds are acceptable. Upper altitude winds are also acceptable. Now, as Alex mentioned, we started the day with a 4-hour window. However, now that we are into LOX loading, we don't have the ability to hold the countdown. Falcon Heavy is 3 rockets counting down at the same time. We need so much liquid oxygen that we would have to scrub tonight in order to use the backup date tomorrow at the same opening of the window time, 11:30 p.m. Eastern. Now, if you've followed the SpaceX webcast in the past, you've probably heard me remind everyone that launch is hard. Well, that goes double tonight, as we're going to fly the most demanding mission profile for a Falcon rocket ever. So the SpaceX team has their conservative dial set at 11 and stands ready to take time to look into anything out of the norm. Now, as the energy from the team gathering below me outside of the control center is growing, we are go at T-minus 10 minutes and 51 seconds.
As we mentioned earlier, tonight's launch is for the U.S. Air Force and is a rideshare mission with 24 satellites. The mission involves the largest number of government agencies we've had as mission partners, including the Air Force, the Naval Academy, NASA, NOAA, and the Taiwan Space Agency. The specific agency inside the Air Force responsible for overseeing tonight's mission is the Space and Missile Systems Center, or SMC. Let's get some more details about what the agency does and is responsible for.
Just want to let you know that this feed that you're watching right now is on a delay. Okay, it's approximately a 10-second delay from actual time on the launch pad. So if you're looking at this, again, the countdown will already be underway by the time you actually see the rocket going up. So you're on a delay watching this video. Just when we get real close to the launch, within the final 10-15 seconds, just look over that building to the right, and then you'll see 10 seconds later what's happening on the video screen. But the real time is about 10 seconds ahead of this video.
Superiority for our nation. Let's face it, the world's changing. Along with it, SMC is changing to ensure the United States remains the vanguard of space capability and scientific understanding. We dubbed our aggressive and innovative new approach to the way we work SMC 2.0. That means speed, to quickly implement the best solutions to new problems. Partnership, to forge the relationships necessary for the mutual benefit of the U.S. and our international allies. Innovation, to capitalize on the most advanced cutting-edge technology in the world. Culture, to inspire the necessary risk-taking that will propel us into the future. And enterprise, to share our vision of accelerated and affordable space systems for the Department of Defense. Initially founded in 1954 to develop the first intercontinental ballistic missile, SMC has produced unprecedented and unparalleled...
The actual color of the engines when they light up and come off, it's a very bright orange, and it's gonna light up the sky, and you'll see it coming up over that direction over there. Now, you're gonna hear a rumble from the rocket too, just so you know. When that thing lifts off, 7.5 miles or 12 kilometers away, within about 10 or 15 seconds after the launch, you're going to hear the rumble of all the engines coming off the pad. That won't hurt you either. You're far enough away. But just be aware, some of the kids may get a little concerned, but the rumble will not hurt you. But that's the sound, the acoustic energy of all the engines coming off the launch pad. So you'll hear that. You'll see the big bright orange flame and the thing going up. And again, within 8-9 minutes or so at the latest, the 2 outer core stages will return back to the land on Cape Canaveral and simultaneous landing with those. And you'll see the burns coming down, but remember, you will also hear the sonic booms. Those are pretty loud too, so just be ready for all kinds of noise associated with the launch. Here we go.
satellite has gone on internal power just a moment ago. Everything's looking good on the satellite. Now a major activity coming up here in another 2.5 minutes is retract of the strongback. We'll see the clamps open up around the second stage. The strongback will recline about 2 degrees in preparation for launch. We're also just inside T-minus 7 minutes. We've begun chilling in the 27 Merlin 1D engines. Now a lot's going to happen in the first 4 minutes of flight of the Falcon Heavy. We'll first light the 2 side boosters and then the center core. The flight computer on Falcon Heavy will check the power on all the engines, then command release from the ground hold downs at T0. So we lift off at T-minus 0. Right after we lift off, we're at full power of over 5.1 million pounds of thrust. 40 seconds into flight, we decrease power on the 2 side boosters in preparation for maximum aerodynamic loads on the vehicle. Once we get through this period, Falcon Heavy will throttle back up to power on the 2 side boosters. We now are 2 minutes into flight, and we're again reducing thrust on the 2 side boosters. This time it's to decrease forces on the rocket structure, especially that structure that holds the side boosters to the center core. The acceleration is building every second as we burn propellant and we're lightening the rocket. So we need to throttle down the side boosters by physically turning off engines to keep the loads below the maximum allowable. 2.5 minutes into flight, we fully turn off the side boosters, called BECO, Booster Engine Cutoff. Then we'll use high-pressure gas separation system that's mounted on the top and bottom of the center core. That'll unlock the 2 side boosters and push them away. Now once we're clear of the side boosters, the center core will throttle up to full power and burn another minute. Finally, at just past 3.5 minutes after liftoff, the center core shuts down, main engine cut off, and the second stage separates. Now from this point on, if like a Falcon 9 mission, other than we do happen to have 3 first stage rockets returning to Earth at both Cape Canaveral and the drone ship. Meanwhile, on the way into orbit, the fairing will separate. The second stage engine will undergo a series of 4 burns, eventually delivering all 24 satellites to their intended orbits. Now it's a demanding sequence of events for the Falcon Heavy tonight. But from this point on, everything is looking good. We're at 4.5 minutes. We're getting ready to recline the strongback. So let's watch and listen to the final countdown.
Now remember, all that smoke on the screen is normal. That's the venting of the liquid oxygen fuel. It warms up a little bit and it returns back to a gaseous state, and that's what you're seeing there. They replenish the liquid oxygen up pretty close to actual launch time. That's to maintain, it's really cold stuff. It's really, really cold, and it warms up fairly quickly, so you got to keep pumping it in, and some of it warms up and it vents off like that. That is normal.
Sit up and watch over there.
The strong back that he was just talking about is the device that supports the rocket and holds it up, and it comes off about 2 degrees or so just before the launch. It's got to fall back away from the rocket so the rocket can clear the tower and keep going.
And positive line lock photos close out.
What you're listening to is some of the launch team discussing some of the procedures of the launch, and hopefully in a minute you'll hear the launch director poll the team and they'll say we have a rocket cleared for launch.
And stage 1 launch photos close out.
People are getting up.
Welcome.
We'll get 2.5 minutes. I guess that's where the rocket's going to launch, right? Come on, guys, let's get closer. Josh, you want to come all this way and not see the rocket?
And vehicles on internal power.
Okay, remember you're watching a delay here. It's about a 10-second, 8-second delay. You're looking at it after the fact, pretty much on the screen. Look over the building, over that direction, over the building to the right, left of the big orange tank, over the building with the blue band. That's where you'll see it coming up. And remember, you'll see how bright it looks with all the engines lit up. But remember, the rumble, the sound of the engines will come here in a few seconds after the launch. And don't worry, it's not going to hurt you, but it will build and make a pretty good rumble. And then again, within 8-9 minutes after the launch, you will see some of the burn backs coming off the two outer boosters as they come back and land on Cape Canaveral. 1 minute.
You should probably get up.
Director, go for launch.
Okay, you got approval for launch. Go for launch.
All right, here we go.
T-minus 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Here we go. Woo!
Remember, the screen is on a delay. It's about 10 seconds of delay. Look over the building here.
Zero.
There it goes. The delay is on the screen. It's going over the building, over the building.
Wow, look how bright that
There you go. There goes your Falcon Heavy rocket.
is. Holy cow. There we go. Look. Whoa.
Now get ready for the noise. The rumble is going to come, and here it comes. It will not hurt you. Don't worry.
Whoa.
Holy heck.
Woo!
That is cool. Best moment in my life.
Through Max Q.
It's going to go through the atmosphere here, and it looks like some smoke is coming off the rocket, but that's vaporizing the atmosphere right there. You see it? That's normal.
Holy. This is so cool.
And it's already broken the sound barrier.
Minute 15 seconds into flight. Performance looks
Wow, that is great.
Who said it was great? Are we all good?
I've never listened to it. Look, it's coming up and
Now,
catching
within
the
about a
earth.
minute or so, the outer two core stages of the rocket will
Holy.
shut down and come off the rocket. You may be able to see
Best
some of
Dad.
that. Rocket is going due east over the
Willing to
ocean.
sacrifice work hours, not just for yourself, but for us. Best Dad.
Look at that baby go. Look how bright it is.
I love
It's like a
that.
Any
comet.
minute now,
Love you too,
should
buddy.
be able to see
Yeah,
the
it's a
two core
comet.
stages shut down, and then the
That's what I
Center
expect
core,
to see when the world is ending.
throttle up.
the side boosters to minimize acceleration and loads on the Falcon Heavy structure. We've turned
that
off
awesome?
on each of the side boosters
Look,
to
it's still
decrease that
going.
load.
It's still bright.
Now our next major event coming up here
It's
in about
miles
10
up
seconds,
already.
Shutdown and,
And you can still
separation
see it.
of the side boosters.
Oh, here comes side
And
boosters.
that should be happening right now.
Oh, they did turn off. And we're going to see them come back. And they're going to come back right
The
over
view
here.
should be the side booster cameras on two sides and the center core in the middle.
They like turn on the thrusters at the last moment.
Yeah, they're going to come down, though. Look how far out they are. Oh, separation must be good.
Molly, we have no video. There we go.
Woo!
There you go.
Look at it. Look at it. It's coming back down.
There, you can see it up there right now. See it?
Whoa. That is incredible.
You can see on the left and right.
There's nothing going wrong. It looks like it's gone wrong.
Nope, nothing's wrong. It's descent. One's going up and one's coming down. That's
On the Falcon Heavy.
all the Falcon Heavies still going
The
up.
next event coming up in about 15 seconds will be shutdown of the center core, followed by stage separation and ignition of the second stage.
See
engine.
them way up there, the two bright ones, and then the
core stage, the center core is going to shut down too, and then the upper stage keeps going. So the landing of the boosters is almost simultaneous. The two outer cores land, and a minute later, the center core lands 700 miles.
Look, Josh, see the center one
barge in the
coming
ocean.
down over here and over there? Look, the two rockets are coming down. One there, one there. One's going into space.
See what you're looking at there on the screen, that's the upper stage engine. It's on,
That's
running,
basically
and
me after my
the
after
main
my-
center
our rocket-
core has already come off the
our
rocket.
robot
That is
does the
the
thing
upper
it's supposed to
stage
do.
single Merlin engine pushing
You know that
the
robot
upper
I
stage
told you about?
into orbit.
It won the competition, and we were like,
We have confirmation of the payload current separation.
"That's us."
So far, 4 minutes, 17 seconds into flight.
Screaming our
Second
guts
stage
out.
looking good, headed
We
to
spent
low Earth orbit during
6
the
months
24th
were all
family.
worth it.
The side boosters have done their first boon coming back to Cape Canaveral.
Wow,
The
I've
center
never
core
seen
has
anything like that.
separated and is beginning its long coast
Now,
down.
if you look over there to the east, due east, over that smaller building there, just left of the moon, if you look over that way, you'll hopefully see the burn backs of those two outer cores. The engines ignite to guide it back and slow it down. You'll see the burns
You
of
can
the
still kind
engines.
of see it.
We're gonna hear the boom. See, here they come.
Now those side boosters are making their way back. Their grid spins on all
Boom. Oh, you hear
sides,
that?
and those are help guiding them to their landing zone. As a reminder, today we will be attempting to recover all, and all are currently making their way home. In just a few minutes, the side boosters will execute an entry burn followed by a landing burn, and the center core will will complete the same burn just a few minutes later. Both burns are used to slow the stage's speed down rapidly before landing.
At the time of separation, the side boosters were traveling slow enough to turn around and make their way back to land at our side-by-side landing pad. The center core is going too fast to efficiently return to the Cape, so we're using our autonomous drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You, as we mentioned earlier. As a reminder, our drone ship is positioned twice as far offshore than normal.
You may be seeing those burns any second now off to the right over here. Look to the east.
Second engine cutoff.
I'm not
Okay,
seeing
they come.
Coming
anything.
up in about a minute here, we're going to look for that
I can't
side
see
booster-
'em.
Side booster reentry burn to begin. Shortly after that should end about 20 seconds later.
I'm not seeing them. Man, that slight glimmer in the distance, that's a rocket.
Yeah. That was a heck of a rocket.
Oh, that was so cool.
That was pretty awesome.
It's like, oh, just minding my business, doing whatever I need. And
Light back up the sky.
Nope, that was it.
In about
We got
30
that
seconds
was the
until we
launch. We
expect
got the
the side
brightness.
boosters
That was
entry
it.
burn to begin.
You're
wow,
gonna see little spurts come back, but that was it.
that was
No,
cool.
you're not gonna get another launch like that, buddy.
That was super cool.